Guys, welcome back to the Big Vision podcast. As you can see, we're going to have an incredible episode. We've got Ty Thompson in the building, people. But before we go over this, I want to give a big shout out to our partners, which is First Responder Blinds. If you need window blinds, shutters, roller shades, commercial roller shades, give them a call, and remember that windows need heroes too. I want to go over our disclaimer real quick. The Big Vision podcast does not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate running for public office. Our platform exists to provide open dialogue, transparency, and community conversation by giving candidates the opportunity to share their background, beliefs, qualifications, and visions directly with the public. The opinions, stats, and statements expressed by guests are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Big Vision podcast, its sponsors, affiliates, or partner. Our goal is to encourage informed voters and respectful discussion within the community. Ty, welcome to the podcast, brother. Let me ask you this question, Ty. Let's just hop right into this. When people hear law enforcement officer, they usually think the badge first. But who is Ty Thompson when he takes the uniform off?
So I'd say that's where I would go into God, family, and everything else. So I'm a big Christian man within Boone's Chapel,
Okay.
up in Marbury.
Awesome.
And then from there, my family. I'm married to my wife, Lisa.
Praise God.
Yeah, for 15 years. I'm going on 15 years.
Wow.
This year.
That's a big achievement.
Yes, it is. I have 2 kids, a 13-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter.
Sweet.
So, and then my career. So that's kind of the order we like to keep it in: God, family, and everything else. So.
That's amazing. I appreciate you sharing that. You know, most of the viewers here, Ty, understand, man, that we're big church people. And if you live in that area, Boone's Chapel is a great place to check out. Let me ask this. What's something your kids or family have taught you about leadership and life?
Well, with anybody with kids would probably say patience.
Amen.
Patience and humility.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody with kids can probably relate to that.
Okay.
So that's where I would.
Awesome. Let me ask this question. Now, do any of your kids play sports or anything like that?
Yeah, so my son, he plays baseball and football. He's
Wow.
in middle school now. And that's been a huge thing for me with him growing up and playing sports and being able to coach him. I've coached him every year that I possibly could, football and baseball. Still able to coach him in baseball now through travel ball. Football, I don't have the opportunity anymore just because he is in middle school. So
Yeah.
now they have the middle school coaches. But, so yes, he's big in sports and he's pretty good. If I gotta say, he's pretty good. And then my daughter is getting into art. She's very creative.
Wow.
So she likes the art stuff.
That's a big thing now.
Yeah, we tried the sports stuff with her. She's not there yet.
Yeah.
Not really enjoy it. So we found something that she liked to do. So,
You know, Tom, to be honest with you, I think that's awesome, man. I think more than ever now, dads just need to be present. So I commend you on that. Let me ask you this, Ty. If someone sat down with your closest friends, what would they say Ty Thompson is really like away from campaigning and politics?
probably the first thing they say is reserved. This is kind of out of my realm. This whole campaign stuff. I'm
Yeah.
not an introvert, but I'm not extroverted. So I'm a pretty reserved guy.
Yeah.
But I like to think that they would say I'm loyal.
Yes.
I got some good loyal friends. They're loyal to me. I'm loyal to them. And I think that they would probably tell you that I'd do anything for them if I could. If they
Yeah.
called me for something, I'd be there. So.
Absolutely. You know, I think in this day and time, being reserved is one of the best qualities somebody can have. Ty, was there ever a moment in your career where you questioned whether you wanted to continue in law enforcement?
So yeah, young in my career, I had a sergeant. I just come off training, and he was pretty hard on me, and he would watch all my videos and call me in and critique me pretty hard on everything I was doing, and it got to the point where I was debating on leaving. but my lieutenant at the time talked to me and kind of explained that he was doing it because he saw the potential in me, and he was just trying to get the best out of me and keep me from making mistakes. And I understand that now, what he was doing. It just took somebody else to kind of explain it to me, but it also at the same time it showed me some leadership qualities that I didn't want to have.
Yes.
Once I progressed into my career and kind of built my own way, that was one of the things that I really made sure that I didn't follow. So
Yeah. You know, Tom, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's probably one of the best leadership lessons that I've ever learned. Was leaders showing me how not to act. So, man, I just think, man, God's positioned you to learn some awesome things. Let's talk about this. What keeps you grounded during stressful seasons? Is it faith, family? Is it routine, or is it something else? Talk to us about that.
So a little bit of all. Like I said, we attend church, and I like to read daily devotionals. So my faith is there. Outside of that, the sports stuff we talked about, coaching. I love the coaching aspect. We like hunting.
Oh yeah.
My son then got my wife into it several years ago, and she's actually killed almost a bigger deer than me.
Wow.
So yeah.
Bragging rights.
Yeah. So we like to try to do things as a family. Turkey hunting, deer hunting. Haven't really got my daughter into hunting yet. She's not big on killing things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just try to keep stuff outside of the law enforcement realm. Just you gotta stay grounded, especially with a job like this and the things we do and see. You gotta stay grounded somehow. So.
You know, Tom, I'm gonna be honest with you. My dad, he's gone on to be with the Lord now. But some of the best memories that I possess is me with my father and fishing, hunting. So, man, I think that's really good. So what legacy do you hope your family remembers you for long after politics is over?
So I would hope to be remembered for my role as a father and a family man. Yes, I feel like I've done some good in law enforcement and with the sheriff's race. If I do win and become sheriff, that would be part of my legacy as well. But it's like I tell all of our young guys that get hired, this is a job, and everybody's replaceable. I'm replaceable, she's replaceable, everybody's replaceable. So the day that you're gone, you're replaced. You're not replaceable with that. That's your stronghold. It should be your backbone. So yeah, I do have passion for my career, but I don't want that to be my identity and my legacy.
Yeah. You know, Tom, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think a lot of people in leadership, they just neglect just family morals. And I'm glad to see, man, that leadership is rising up where they care about their families. And, you know, it's just important that we put our families first. Let me ask you this, Ty. You recently got a lot of credit for bringing the guy in the manhood in.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so and I made a post about this after, and I understand what all my supporters were trying to do, and I appreciated that. But at the same time, it was like everybody was trying to give me sole credit for doing that, and it wasn't. I can't take really any of the credit for it because I was just part of the puzzle. I just happened to be there doing my job at the right place at the right time. The county and marshals and other agencies, Chilton County, I know, came down and helped. They've been out in the rain and storm for 2 days trying to get this guy. And just unfortunately, he won the cat and mouse game and up in the larger area of the woods and made his way down to our jurisdiction, and we were able to corner him in a little bit smaller area. And we wasn't dealing with hundreds of thousands of acres like the county was. So that's what everybody's got to realize. They did have a lot harder job up there, and we were able to get him quarantined in a lot smaller area and get the good perimeter set up, and the helicopter found him with the FLIR.
Yes.
And yes, I was part of the arrest team that went in the woods and helped arrest him. So I can't take credit for that. I just happened to be there, and that's what people got to understand. A lot of people saying that was like a political stunt and all this. What you got to understand is, even if I wasn't running for sheriff, you know where I would have been, doing the exact same thing, the exact same time. So, I mean, that's my job, and I was just there doing it. So,
you know, I think that's why a lot of your voters really appreciate you. You know, because you're humble. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I look at all that stuff, and I really felt that, you know, you could have took a lot of credit for that.
yeah.
And I just love to see that you gave credit to the other departments that were in that. And I think, man, that's why your voters are really pushing you. And I think, man, being humble is a huge part of leadership. And I think for showing that.
Yeah, and it was a great thing. We were able to, and that's where working with other agencies comes in. You got to be able to build those relationships, which I have over on my almost 18 years with PD is built these relationships with. I mean, you got so many departments around. I mean, you got a lot. Yeah, all the other municipalities, the counties, the Montgomery City. We've done over the last month. We've done 3 or 4 operations with Montgomery PD.
Wow.
Just assisting them.
That's neat.
You got Leah. You got. I mean, there's so many agencies that have to be able to work together. The marshals, ATF, DEA, all the federal side of it. You gotta be able to set your pride aside and say, hey, we need help.
Yeah.
Can you come in?
Absolutely. That's awesome. Let me ask you this, Ty. There's been talk about crime numbers or case numbers being low in Autauga County. Can you explain this?
So I think you're referring to the post that we put out about the grand jury stats, and that's just stats that we collected from the courts. And so what that is in 2025, the grand jury stats for Prattville, you got true bill and no bill. So true bill means that the grand jury finds enough evidence to pursue warrants or pursue charges. And no bill means they don't find sufficient evidence. Yeah, so in 2025, Prattville's no bill rate was right at 20%, and our caseload is a lot bigger than Autauga County's, and we're working 2 different counties. So if you know how Prattville's split, the majority of the east side is in Elmore County, so we have to work 2 different counties. In 2025, Autauga County's no bill rate was right at 41%. So I can't say why. I do know it's an issue, and it's just an issue that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
And it needs to be addressed for the reason that a lot of those no bills probably already had warrants signed on the people that they'd already been arrested for them, but then they go through grand jury and now there's not sufficient evidence to show. So it becomes a liability. So it's just something that would have to be addressed.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about this. Okay, so you shared a story recently on social media about using a person's dog to catch them. Now I gotta know about this, Ty.
All right, yeah. So that was back early in my narcotics career, probably 2014, 2015.
Oh wow.
So me and my partner Stephen were working a local meth dealers / manufacturer. That was back before the Mexican market flooded with the meth. So you don't find so many people nowadays making the meth anymore. But so we were working a case. We had a couple meth files on this guy. We watched him on video making meth and all this, and so we decided to get a search warrant. The day of the search warrant, we pull up to the house. Me and my partner jump out. The suspect's in the backyard. He sees us. He jumps off into a pretty big ravine down into some woods. So me and my partner, he jumps. So I jump. So here we go down this ravine into the woods after this guy. And at the time, my lieutenant and actually Sergeant Harold was a sergeant in narcotics back then. We're at the top of the hill, and the suspect's dog was at the top of the hill. And then my lieutenant looked at the dog and said, "Go get him." Well, here comes the dog, passes us, runs through the woods. So we come to a head of woods and out into a field, and there's some tall grass, and we look out in the middle of the field, and all we see is the dog's tail out.
Just a wagon out there, wasn't it?
So we're like, So we walk up, and lo and behold, he's found the suspect, his owner, and laying in the middle of the field.
Yeah,
so.
just gave him away
Gave him
right
away.
there. Awesome. So, Ty, politics can become ugly fast, and I'm sure you understand that campaigning. How have you handled criticism during this campaign, especially when it comes to your father?
So that's been a big topic, and I understand people's concerns on that, but I hope I can kind of put that at ease. There's no reason for concern. There's no conflict. There's no attempt at a power grab, a monopoly, a merge. None of that's ever been discussed. It's actually for anything like that to happen, we'll take legislative action, votes, and all this. So there's a process for anything like that to ever happen, which has not even been discussed. It's not anything that we're looking at doing. So my dad actually tried to talk me out of doing this initially, just because of the politics inside, and he knew that I'd never done anything like this, and he didn't want me getting involved in politics. But
Just get ugly.
just after seeing some things going on with the county and some people talking to me, I felt like I needed to run and give it my best shot. And but for as far as the relationship with my dad and what would happen with the county, my dad's got 100 officers and 40-something thousand people in the city. His concern is not going to be with the county. I'm my own man, make my own decisions, and the people at the PD will tell you, yes, I respect the command structure and rank structure, but also have my own ideas and ways of doing things. I'm not saying that I go against him or anybody. I respect all that, but what people got to understand is I've heard that we're going to go in and run this thing for years. So if I do get elected, I won't go into office till January 2027. 2028, my dad will have 50 years in law enforcement. My dad is nearing the end of his law enforcement career. Okay? I will just be somewhat starting mine, I guess you could say. So it wouldn't be that. It's not like we're running this thing for 10 years together. There's going to be kind of that transition. So my dad is the reason I'm the man I am, and I would seek his advice on things. He worked 35 years with Montgomery County, so he knows how a county works, he knows how a city works. So to not use that asset wouldn't be smart. But there's no concern for conflict, no concern for a power merge or whatever being said out there. It's not going to happen. So.
Yeah. I want to take this time just to say something. I did not know it was your dad been doing 50 years.
2028,
So,
50 years.
Yeah, I don't want to assume, but I'm sure he'll watch this. And, Chief Thompson, I just want to tell you, man, from the bottom of my heart, man, you've been a wonderful chief for Prattville. We appreciate the service that you have given to Prattville, and man, we just want to say thank you. So thank you, Chief Thompson. Ty, let's talk about this. At the end of the day, why does this race matter so deeply to you personally?
I feel like I'm rooted in Autauga County. I grew up in Autauga County, went to school, played football for Prattville back in the heyday of Prattville football.
Yes.
And some of y'all may have seen my endorsement by Coach Clark. Coach Clark and I were good friends back then, and he still supports me to this
That's a
day.
big endorsement.
It is. It was good of him to do that for me. But I raised my family in the county, and I just feel like I just felt the drive and need to try to do this for me and the citizens of Autauga County. So.
Oh man, that's awesome. So basically what you're saying is, you grew up in Autauga County. You went to all your school
All my school
was
Prattville.
in Prattville, so Autauga County.
Yeah.
And then you played football. What position did you play in football?
Quarterback.
Come on now. you was throwing that thing.
Well, that was back in the old option days. They wouldn't let me. For some reason, they wouldn't let me throw. We went to a 7-on-7 down in Daphne my senior year and won it. A passing camp, went down there and won it, and then came back and they went right back options. So they're like, But we did well running options.
So basically, you live in Autauga County now, and so man, I think that's awesome. let's talk about this, Ty. We're getting close to an end. If elected sheriff, what's your plan for the sheriff's office moving forward?
Okay, so one of the first things that I would like to do is reorganize or restructure the command structure and rank and the assignments. I know they're on 12-hour shifts over there, and I feel like we can move some stuff around to put more deputies on the road, and get more deputies out in the county. And all that's going to do is just cut down on response times. And just make it safer for citizens. I've heard some response times from 25 to 40 minutes from some people. So I think just a reorganization of the way things are will help that, and cut down on the deputies hanging out in the city, make sure they're out in the county where they need to be. Another one of my plans is the hiring process. I would say that the hiring process at Prattville is second to none, so I would like to mimic that with the county. It's just that's where you start building is that hiring process, and we like to call it our brand. So you got to get people that are going to fit your brand. So you learn that through that hiring process just by all the steps that you put them through, if they're going to fit your culture and your brand. So I would like to mimic that and bring that over, and to go along with that is we can start hiring some guys at younger ages and hiring them into the jail to be correctional officers, and by doing that, you create buy-in, and then you give them a goal to obtain, to look for. So we're hiring at 19, at 21 you tell them, hey, you do a good job in jail for us, you learn our ways. At 21 we'll send you to the academy, you come out and be a deputy on the road. So it kind of gives us a funnel into being a deputy, and I feel like that'd be a good program. Still, I mean, you can still hire some guys that are already APO certified. There's nothing wrong with that. They have to fit your mold in your brand, what you're trying to do.
That's it.
Outside of that, I'm big on standards, and I'll get into that. So standards, I'm very big on raising standards as far as training. So APOS, the Alabama Peace Officers Association and Training Commission, they require 12 hours of continuing education hours per year per officer, deputy, sworn officer. So to me, that's a little low for what we do, all the training that we need, and to stay up on law updates and different aspects of whatever you may be doing at the time in your career. 12 hours to me is just low. That's 1 2-day class a year for an officer deputy, and then they don't train anymore that year. And so if I'm elected, then we will at least double that.
Yeah.
So 24 hours per year per deputy or officer, and for specialized units, it'll be 40 hours or more. So investigator, narcotics, special ops, it'll be probably 40 hours or more specialized training. So the next thing would be firearms qualifications. That's a big thing to me.
Yeah, that's huge. Firearms qualifications are huge.
What a lot of people don't understand is that is a very perishable skill, and for people that don't shoot a lot, it is you can tell. So so firearms, the APOS minimum requirement is a 70 with the state. So you're telling me that you are allowing officers to miss 15 shots and still carry a gun. That's what the APOS standard says.
Yeah, that's too low.
Yeah, so you are allowed to miss 15 shots and still carry a gun. To me, that's
unacceptable.
So one thing that I was able to do at Prattville was write into policy, we wrote policy on our firearms, and we upped our standard to an 80 at Prattville. Still not great, but it's better than a 70. We don't like rewarding misses, but you gotta be able to start somewhere. So on the special operations team, our minimum is a 96 with the handgun and a 98 with the rifle. And on the special operations team, you can imagine the situation if we're called to. You have to stay proficient in all aspects. So standards are a must on things like that. So if you don't meet the standard, you come off the team. If I don't meet it, I'm off. So standards are a big thing, and they will be raised. Another one will be PT. A PT standard is a thing that a lot of departments are getting away from for some reason. But especially a county has to have some sort of PT and wellness program, because deputies their backup may be 20, 30 minutes away. You gotta be able to stay alive. If you can't, then you're no good anybody. So there's been some, I think, misconceptions of my plans to come over and fire everybody. That's not my goal. And I think people are taking me trying to implement these higher standards as I come in, they can't meet them and they're gone. That's not what I'm saying. I understand that it's gonna be a long-term goal. So for Prattville this past spring qualification, handgun qualifications, out of almost 100 officers, we averaged right in the 96 out of almost 100 officers.
Wow.
So that's pretty good.
Wow.
As a department.
Yes.
I've qualified departments in the past that they come out, their command hands them one box of ammo and says, "I hope you shoot a 70," and that's the only box of ammo they get that year.
That ain't good.
No, and it's not sustainable, and it's not going to keep anybody proficient. So if you're not going to give your officers and deputies the tools that they need to train, they're not going to be proficient. So I know at Prattville, I know I keep going back to Prattville, but we seem to do things a little bit different. But we offer each officer 50 rounds of pistol per month and 20 rounds of rifle per month.
Wow.
To come out and train on the department. So that's
awesome.
That's helped maintain that proficiency.
Yeah.
And that's why we have such a high
Yes,
standard and
that's
high percentage on our qualifications. So that's kind of my goals, is just to change the culture of the department. And
So Ty, let me ask you one last question. Why should the great people of Autauga County vote you in as their next sheriff?
well, I would say that we saw during the primary that 53% of Autauga County wanted to change.
53%.
53%. They just couldn't decide who they wanted to make that change. I feel like I'm the person for that change, and with my experience and my goals, I just asked for the opportunity to be the person to make the change.
Yep.
So,
Well, Ty, brother, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I want to share this Bible verse. This is our custom for doing this. And, this has been a really good month, but in this month, it's Memorial Day, and I want to share something. It's the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 13. And it says, "There is no greater love than for someone to lay their life down for their friend." And I know that you and the other law enforcement agents and our great military have done that for us. And man, we want to give a big shout out to all the people who have laid their life down, law enforcement and military. Thank you for making this nation a great nation. June the 16th, go vote. Get there no matter what. Take off work. It's a huge day. It's an historic day. Okay? So on June the 16th, listen people, let me just say it again. June 16th, go vote. And I want to kind of go over some stuff. It's a runoff. Okay? So there's no confusion about it. If you voted Republican, if you showed up to the primary as a Republican, you have to vote Republican. Same if you're a Democrat. But if you did not vote in the primary, you have the opportunity to vote Republican or Democrat. So go vote. The numbers of people voting were very low. Let's not do that, people. Let's go out, let's exercise our right to vote. And listen, thank you guys so much for watching the Big Vision podcast. Ty, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
The best is still to come. Thank you guys.